to see Tank and Loma. Come on, bro.
But do you want to see
Kambosos Loma?
I love to see that too.
Do you think Tank versus Loma as the most competitive fight?
Oh hell yeah, it's a competitive fight. You got Tank that got that punching power and speed, and he can box too. And you got Lomachenko that got the footwork and everything to go along with him. Hell yeah, I still want to see the fight because Tank is dangerous, man.
But is that more? Do you think that's actually more competitive than Devin Haney fight
versus Loma? To be honest with you, I got Lomachenko in that fight. Devin Haney, how he's gonna keep Loma up off of? That's the thing. See, Devin Haney's a great boxer. He's great. He's long. Yeah, he knows how to negate distance, but he still makes some mistakes. Keeps his head on that center line, and that started left hand tonight, right? Well, Devin Haney will be eating a lot of those left hands coming from Lomachenko right down the middle. You saw Diaz land them left hands down the middle. There's a little lack in his defense, right, with defense that he uses, which is kind of like a Philly shell. Yeah. He tries to use a Philly shell. He blocks the wrong way. He keeps his head on the center line a lot of times. He's sitting directly in front of guys. I don't like when guys sit in front of him.
To the untrained eye, a lot of people would rank Haney and Shakur's boxing skills very similarly. So you think they're in a different league?
Different league. Hell, Shakur is a way better skillful fighter than I would say. Hey, Haney got some skills. Good foot movement. He's long. That's what makes him so difficult. He's so super long, and then he's patient too, and he sets his traps and counters. But defensively, he gets hit. Shakur don't get hit.
Where does Tank between the two of those guys skill-wise? If there's Shakur, Haney, where's Tank?
Tank is dangerous. When do you see a guy with speed and power like that? You see a guy either have speed, no power, or power, a little bit of speed. You got a guy with speed and power, small guy, and skills.
Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to BodyWorkBoxing. And, man, welcome back to the channel. I just thought this was very interesting here. That Tim Bradley and I'm thinking Andre Ward are going to be calling the Kambosos Haney fight. Now, I used that first clip in the beginning from something I posted back in December, basically called Tim's Eureka Moment. That's when he was talking about how dangerous Tank was because of his speed and power, and how you normally find one with a fighter with both like that to the extent that Tank has. So he was giving his glowing praises, and he was saying that he wanted to see Tank versus Loma, right? But along inside that conversation, he talked about Devin Haney. He admonished him for his skills, but he also laughed. If you listen to it, he laughed when they actually was comparing Shakur Stevenson to Devin Haney. And he said it's clear that Shakur Stevenson was on a whole nother level than Devin Haney. He talked about he's a good boxer and how he uses his length and everything, but he said that he was showing some vulnerability. He questioned his defense in the Philly shell, what he was talking about specifically, because he was given the landscape of the 135 division, right? So I'm thinking here, it's a lot of hoopla being made about some of the elements that Devin Haney is facing going into this fight. Now that it's pretty much a done deal in June 5th. So not only does he have to go to Australia, so with COVID, you got to go through the protocol. You got to go through being acclimated to a whole nother country and the time frame that it takes to get acclimated before you travel. You got being away, in uncharted territory, where the crowd's going to be against you, right? And now you have these commentators, that were behind some kind of controversial decisions. I mean, they commentated on the Conceição Valdez fight, where a lot of people said it was a clear robbery and Conceição should have won, where before the fight, they verbally tongue-lashed Valdez for the tea incident and testing positive for PED and everything. But when it came to the actual fight, they were commentating on that fight as if Conceição wasn't in there giving Valdez a boxing clinic. Even if you look at body language, like Andre Ward likes to bring up, or like here recently, he's been speaking a lot about body language. after the fight, Valdez looked like he was about to cry. You know, they went ahead and let him fight. There was a lot of controversy behind all that, but they commentated on that fight. They commentated here recently on the Edgar Berlanga fight, Steve Rose, in which I personally had Rose winning 7 of them rounds. I got my scorecard. If you want to debate about it, we can get it on. They commentated that fight. You know, they said that Berlanga spent the whole fight just basically chasing Rose around, but Rose was efficient. He outlanded Edgar Berlanga. So I'm thinking, you know, they commentated that fight. So you got some people with some very strong opinions. Andre Ward is you know, future Hall of Famer, gold medal Olympian. Tim Bradley with a successful career, very highly opinionated. And there's often a lot of criticism with how these guys actually, you know, commentate on the fights. I think they have Joe Tessitore along with them as well. So it's going to be very interesting listening how they actually call that fight. Now in the second clip,
it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. I think Kambosos brings a different element. I think that he can punch. I think that his speed is underrated. His punch is underrated. His chin is underrated. I mean, yeah, his combinations are underrated. I mean, is he as fast as Haney? He's quick, dude. He's quick. Dude, he has fast hands. They're quick. They're to the target. He's accurate with the joints too. He has a really good team behind him too. You know, his team is solid all the way across the board, from nutrition to stamina, conditioning, cardio. You name it, dude. He has everything set in stone for him to be successful, bro. He's gonna be tough. He's gonna be at home. And if Haney doesn't get a knockout or make it a blowout, which just box his ears off, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to win there at home, man. It really is. I really haven't studied film. I know both guys' style and what they bring. I'm worried about the right hand getting in on Haney. I really am. Just from me watching his previous fights, the right hand, he gets it with right hands. When he got hit with Linares, it was from the right hand. It was vicious. It was in the inside. I know he was standing his ground. And that's the thing with Haney. He has some snap on his shots, but there comes a time where it's not like he gets bored. He doesn't get bored. It's just like a lot of things he do is repetitive, and you can catch on a bit later, especially when he slows down a bit and slows his feet down, and he becomes stationary at times. Those are the vulnerable moments that I see for him in this fight. That's when I think you're going to see Kambosos come on during those moments late in the fight where he has to stand his ground and he can no longer move and try to find ways to exit and get out of the way, because you only can move and run for a certain amount of period before God catch up with you.
Yeah, you have it in that clip. I think it was a pretty fair assessment. I mean, I think that was a pretty fair assessment. So, he is talking about how, pretty much Devin has to go in there and get the knockout. From what I understand, it's a rematch clause, so even if Devin win, he got to do it twice. So, we see what happened with the Josh Taylor Catterall fight. We just seen what happened with the Danny Jacobs fight against John Ryder. When you go over there and you in somebody else's territory, it's not a foregone conclusion that you just gonna walk out there, even if you're clearly outboxing your opponent. So I want to know, what do you think about this? What do you think about this element of Tim Bradley and Andre Ward being the commentators on this fight? I know Tim was confirmed. That clip was from Fight Hype. When Tim was actually expressing those things, But I think Kambosos, I think that a lot of people that's pushing the narrative that Devin Haney just going to go in there and wash Kambosos. Kambosos actually beat Mickey Bay. He beat Teofimo. Teofimo went in there with the wrong game plan. That's what everybody think. But, he showed that he could be very disciplined. He showed poise. He showed resiliency by getting knocked down. Perhaps getting more hurt than what he actually hurt Tio with the flash knockdown when he knocked Tio down. So he came back and then he actually took over those championship rounds. Some people question, does Devin Haney gas at some point in time? Is he going to try to stand his ground? against an effective counterpuncher like Kambosos. But is he going to actually render a clinic that's going to make those judges, make those commentators basically communicate and make it line up with what the fans are going to see inside of that ring? I would love to get your comments on, this subject matter. Thank you for the growth. I've been getting a lot of subscribers lately. All subscribers matter. Here where we feed the clones. Boxing is looking good. There's some good things going. I got some more videos to come. I just want to know, what do you all think about Tim Bradley and Andre Ward basically commentating a fight in which Devin Haney actually leaves leaves the zone and starts playing man over there at ESPN. What do you think? I think that's an interesting element, man. And here you go, a lot from Tim, basically, so we got him on record, because I be tracking what these commentators be saying and certain people with their opinions, But we gonna see, is Devin Haney as good as what they say he is? Is Tim Bradley, Andre Ward, and the commentators and the judges and all that, are they going to be as pure as we think they are in rendering their comments and their judgments? Thanks for looking at the video. Here at BodyWork, where we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
All right, I believe you, but my Tommy gun don't. Get down on your knees and tell me you love me.
My word, I do what I do. He knows what I'm about to tell him right now. It's Mr. Keep running your mouth. That's what I do.
I just feel like I'm the champ, and at the end of the day, I'm just a fighting motherfucker. Doesn't matter. Inside, outside, I can just fight. So I just feel like if it gets down to the wire, we gotta lock it up. I'm out on top.
Hey, look, as you can see how I'm looking, I stay solid. I'm always solid. I stay fucked solid up, man. You know what I'm saying? To the fans that know.
You let go outside the ring. I'm a fighter. Like I said before, ain't no safety on the clock, so